when you call spawn, this is done automatically. Okay, let's run the model. Have a look if grass is created, and if grass is created, if the model is okay. We have a problem here. Okay. Let's have a look. Grass. Okay, we see it tries to initialize automatically the grasses object here. So let's make it private. We could also do the private here. And when I run it, then now it should work. Okay, stops at the sheep environment. Now we see the init value 0. And for the next one, it's 10, right? And if we look at our grid, then we see, okay, we have here alternating 0 and 10 initial values. Okay, so everything is working. So this was creating the grass, which we will use later to integrate the precipitation layer. Now we are already partially on 2.5, create agents manually. We have done that, but then you have to take care about a lot for yourself, like registering them in the runtime system and initializing them and calling the init method. And you have problems if you have information which you want to hand over from outside, from the file, or as an individual mapping to get that into your agent. So better it is to use the agent manager. So I want to go a little bit deeper into that. Right now, we create sheep just randomly, right? So the position is handed randomly into it. And then they also get a random energy based on this property from outside. But maybe for reproduction, for running the program over and over again, you want to start with always the same starting positions for your agents. So how can you do that? You can define a file. Let's create a file, maybe a CSV file. I would call it sheep CSV. Oh, sheep. And this CSV file should look like this. We just hand over some information and create agents that have that. So this first agent should start at position 3.3 with init energy 10. And we make a second one, which starts at another position with another energy. And I would like to initialize my sheep using this file, which can be, of course, much larger. And the agent manager should automatically use these information to initialize my sheep. So these three, I want to also create new properties for them. So let's say we have init energy, get set with a property description. And we want to have the same for the X position and the Y position. And if these are set, then we make it dynamically. Say if init energy is greater than 0, so we are using the file, then I also want to use X position and so on. And otherwise, I use this part here. Like this. Okay, so these two things should now be initialized by the information from outside. So we create the position with X pos and Y pos. And the energy should be the init energy. Okay, so I use these two properties to be initialized from outside. And how do I now use these sheep CSV? It's rather simple. I just go to the simulation config and say, I have a file, and I have to specify that file lays in resources sheep CSV. And now the agent manager will automatically check that file and use it for initialization. So what I would expect is that we now go into this branch rather than into the other one. Okay, so init energy is 10, and you see it now creates position and energy with the values that we provided in the file. Okay, so another thing where the agent manager helps you or eases the way for you to work with data and model. Now we have a third use case. So maybe you want to create agents periodically. Yeah. So right now we say this init layer method is called once at the beginning of the simulation to initialize this layer, and then we spawn all the agents, right? But maybe you say, I want to spawn agents every 5 ticks or every 5 minutes, whatsoever. So that's not possible here because this init layer method is only called once. But you can use another layer for that. We have created a specific layer which is used to create agents periodically. And this agent, this manager is, or layer is called, it's a new class, and we might call it a sheep scheduler layer, which is an agent scheduler layer. And we just have to specify which agent, sheep, on which layer, grassland, has to be created. That's all from the model perspective. But now we have to tell or to give this layer the information it requires. And of course, we do that with the simulation config. So we create a new layer mapping and say, we have a new layer, which is called sheep scheduler layer. And it also uses an input file, which we still have to create. Sheep schedule, probably. Okay. So we have to create a new file, sheep schedule CSV. And let's have a look. Some columns here are required for the scheduler manager to work, for the scheduler layer. The first thing is the start time and an end time. Then we need the interval, which is called spawning interval in minutes. And we have to say how many should be spawned, so the amount. And then, of course, we can also add additional information as we want. Okay, you remember the way we specify these timestamps. So let's say from the first tick on until somewhere in the future, we want to spawn. Now you have to be careful in minutes, but our config is in days. So every day has 24 hours and every hour has 60 minutes. So if you combine that, we could say 440 would be every day we create one agent at this position. Okay, and now we are nearly finished. You can, of course, so now this line is responsible to create every hour a new agent at this with these properties, but you could, of course, also create others starting from different time points, having a different interval, as you like. Okay, the last thing which is missing is everything which should be part of our model needs to be part of the description. So we have to add the layer to the description. And that's it. And now, when we say we don't create grass here, just comment that. We still expect the some sheep to be initialized periodically. Okay, that is right now not working. It comes with the next update, which will be available today. So you can just use it the way I just presented it. And if there are problems, just come back to me. Okay, now we are nearly finished. The last thing we want to do is we want to integrate a new raster layer and have an agent be able to access it. Okay, so first of all, I would like to have a look with you at the data we want to import. So let's see, I already copied. No, I didn't copy it here.